All right, let's talk about age. We all have that number, the one on our driver's license that tells us how many birthdays we've had. But what if I told you that number doesn't tell the whole story? Not even close. Today, we're going to dive into a different kind of age, your body's true age. So let's just start with this one big question. What if your calendar age is wrong? I mean, what if the number of candles on your cake has almost nothing to do with how your body is actually holding up on the inside? It's a fascinating idea, so let's get into it. Okay, so here's the basic breakdown. On one hand, you've got your chronological age. Pretty simple, right? It's just the number of years you've been on the planet. It's fixed. You can't change it. But then there's your biological age, and that is your body's internal functional age. And this is the game changer. It's not set in stone. You can actually influence it. So what exactly is this biological age? Well, probably the easiest way to think about it is as a measure of your body's overall wear and tear up to this point. And this isn't some vague new age concept. Biological age is a real, concrete measurement. It's an assessment based on hard data, biomarkers from your blood tests, the health of your organs, and even specific little chemical tags on your DNA. It's like a full body audit of your health. And this is where it gets really wild. You could take two people who are both, say, 40 years old, but because of their different lifestyles, genetics, and environments, one might have the biological age of a 32-year-old, while the other is chugging along with the body of a 48-year-old. The difference can be absolutely huge. And that difference, that gap, it matters. It matters a whole lot. Because this isn't just a fun fact to bring up at a dinner party. There's a very real and sometimes very high cost to aging faster on the inside. Just take a look at this number, 20 to 25%. Let that sink in for a second. What do you think that represents? Yeah, that's your increased risk of dying. It's a concept scientists call age acceleration. And the research is pretty clear. For every single year your biological age is higher than your chronological age, your mortality risk goes up by a staggering 20 to 25%. But it's not even just about when you might die. It's about how you live before then. A higher biological age doesn't just predict a shorter lifespan, it also means that major chronic diseases tend to show up way earlier. We're talking about hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, even cancer. All the things we associate with old age just arriving ahead of schedule. This quote just nails it perfectly. When your biological age speeds up, it's not just one thing that goes wrong. It's like your entire health timeline gets shifted forward. The whole curve of disease and, eventually death just moves earlier. So you're probably wondering, how on earth do scientists know this with such precision? Well, the answer is pretty incredible, and it's all thanks to these amazing little clocks hidden right there in our DNA. Okay, so these aren't literal clocks with hands and numbers. They're super advanced tests that look at these tiny chemical marks on your DNA called methylation. The best way to picture it is, imagine your DNA is a giant string of Christmas lights. Methylation is like putting dimmer switches on some of those lights. It doesn't change the bulb, but it controls how brightly it shines. By reading these patterns, these dimmer switches, scientists get a stunningly accurate read on your biological age. And one of the most powerful of these tools, and it's got a pretty intense name, is the Grim Age Clock. It's kind of become the gold standard because it's just so incredibly good at predicting not just your biological age, but your potential lifespan. So how much better is this than what we already have? Well, a lot. Think about it. Doctors already look at traditional risk factors, smoking, BMI, that kind of thing, and that gives them a certain amount of predictive power. But when you take that same information and you add Grimage data into the mix, the ability to predict mortality risk just shoots way, way up. It's seeing something much deeper. Which brings us to another one of these stark numbers, 24 to 31%. That's the increased risk of dying that's tied to having a high Grimage score. But here's the really mind-blowing part. That risk holds true even after scientists account for everything else. Your lifestyle, your education, any chronic diseases you already have, you name it. That tells us the Grimage clock is tapping into something truly fundamental about the aging process itself. Okay, I know that was a lot, some pretty heavy science, some pretty scary numbers. So it all comes down to the most important question, right? After all that, is there anything you can do about it? Can you turn back the clock? And the answer, incredibly, is yes. This is the hopeful part. Remember, your chronological age, that's fixed. But your biological age, it's modifiable. It's a number you can actually change.
So, how do you do it? Well, the science points to some really key areas that you can control. Things like improving your body composition, upping your fitness level, obviously quitting smoking, and just generally getting your metabolic health in check. These are the levers you can actually pull to slow things down.
And the payoff here is just enormous. We're not just talking about chasing some number on a lab test. By actively lowering your biological age, you can potentially extend not only how long you live, that's your lifespan, but maybe even more importantly, how many healthy, vibrant years you get to enjoy, and that's your health span. So at the end of the day, your biological age is so much more than a number. Think of it as a signal. It's your body telling you right now how it's doing. So the real question is, are you listening?